we have some new Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Datamine information coming out. This is pointing towards the possibility of more DLC fighters than just this first fighter pass, and therefore the possibility of multiple fighter passes. So as of right now, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has its base roster, then it has one extra additional DLC fighter, Piranha Plant, and then there is a fighter pass that consists of 5 characters plus stages and music. We only know the first character of those 5, which is Joker. The other 4 are still unknown. So as of right now, we're only guaranteed 4 more unknown fighters. We know Joker's coming. He's the first Challenger Pack, so they've split the Fighter Pass into 5 Challenger Packs. Challenger Pack 1 is Joker, and Challenger Pack 2, 3, 4, and 5 are still unknown to us. Now, recently we had a data mine that showed that we're probably going to get some more modes, and in the last Direct, they really seemed to hint at that. Those modes are most likely Home Run Contest and Stage Builder, since those are in the data for Smash Brothers. We also saw on the official website a little while back that Mii Fighter costumes are probably coming back. So these are things that are not part of the Fighter Pass. Fighter Pass is just a character, a stage, and music. At least that's what's in each of these Challenger Packs. So we're still unsure what more we could get. If we are getting new modes, if we are getting Mii costumes, it's possible we could be getting more fighter passes. Once again, as of right now, we're only guaranteed 4 more unknown fighters in this fighter pass, but it is plausible we could get more fighter passes. A while back, there was a data mine that showed 30 slots for unknown characters, so that's a possibility of Nintendo adding 30 more DLC characters. That always seemed way too high for me. I just thought that that probably wasn't going to happen, and that those 30 slots were most likely just a buffer zone. So if Nintendo decides to do another fighter pass, or even a couple more fighter passes, they would have the wiggle room, that the game is able to hold more DLC characters. As far as I'm aware, the first person to report these 30 possible empty spots for more DLC characters was Jam1 Garner over on Twitter, who is a known data miner. Now, again, 30 slots seems like way too many in my opinion. I don't think Nintendo is actually going to give us 30 DLC characters. I think this is likely just a buffer zone in case Nintendo changes their mind, wants to add another DLC character, maybe another fighter pass, something like that. I think they just don't want to limit themselves, so they made it a really high number like 30, so the game can hold as many characters as they do decide to put in. But let's do a little math here. So if we take away Piranha Plant, we're down to 29 spots. If we take away Joker, we're down to 28 spots. And then if we take away the 4 unknown characters in our first fighter pass here that we know we're going to get, we're down to 24 further DLC characters, which again is a real lot of characters. So 24 more DLC fighters after this first fighter pass is obviously a really large number of further DLC characters, and I'm not expecting it. But I will also say that 24 is a strange number. See, the issue is that the first fighter pass is 5 characters. So I would assume if Nintendo gave us more fighter passes, they would be in sets of 5. And 24 isn't evenly divisible by 5. 25 is, which would be 5 more fighter passes, which would give us a total of 6 fighter passes, which would be just an insane amount of fighter passes. And again, 24 isn't even divisible by 5. So given all that, I have to conclude that this initial data mine for 30 DLC fighter spots is likely just that, a buffer zone for Nintendo to add as many characters as they see fit, without limiting themselves to something. This is a pretty big number, so whatever they decide to do, they're not going to hit the limit because they have 30 spots. Now, some people had looked at the 30 slots as the possibility of getting like a bunch of Echo fighters or something, since they don't take as much effort to make as brand new fighters, but I still thought that was way too many characters. If we got 24 more after this initial fighter pass, that still just seems like a lot of characters, even if like 10 or 20 of them were Echo fighters. That would be just a ton of Echo fighters, still be a ton of work. I just didn't see it happening. So given all that, I wasn't seriously looking at these 30 spots as something we'd actually get. I wasn't trying to actually figure out if this is really how many DLC fighters we're going to get at the end. I just thought, you know, this is just that buffer zone for Nintendo. In case they want to add more, they can do that, but whether or not we get more fighter passes is still totally up in the air, and this really wasn't anything to go by. However, we now have a new data mine that seems much more plausible and could actually point to further fighter passes. So another data miner, Mizumi, over on Twitter, has found 16 spots for DLC characters for World of Light. One of those spots is being used by Piranha Plant. So the data miner Mizumi wrote over on Twitter, one of the files for WOL, World of Light, has 16 dummy slots, with one of them being used for Plant. plant being used as short for piranha plant. And then Mizumi added a link that shows the data that they found. So we know from Piranha Plant that in World of Light, when you have a DLC fighter in the game, they actually do show up in World of Light. They have some sort of requirement. I think Piranha Plant is you have to unlock 10 characters, and then you automatically get Piranha Plant added to your World of Light save. So likely when the other DLC fighters come out, they will also be added to World of Light after meeting some sort of condition. So the 16 dummy slots could be for actual DLC fighters and what will add them into World of Light. Now, if we do some math here, 16 minus 1 slot already being used for Piranha Plant gives us 15. Then we have Joker and the other 4 that are coming with his Fighter Pass, so that gives us 10. And 10 is divisible by 5, it's divisible twice. So it's possible we could get 2 more Fighter Passes after the first one, which I think is actually a very reasonable amount of DLC fighters. Now, I don't want to hype this too much, as it's completely possible this is also a buffer zone for World of Light, and we're just going to get the 4 more unknown fighters in our first Fighter Pass, and that's it. There's only 1 Fighter Pass. There's no second, there's no third. However, this does set up for the possibility that there could be a second and third one, and that's pretty exciting to me. Supposedly, this first Fighter Pass is supposed to run throughout the rest of this year and possibly slightly into next year before we get all the fighters. So 2 more Fighter Passes would mean 2 more years of supporting Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with DLC characters, which isn't that crazy. The Switch is pretty young. Sakurai made that joke about, will I ever be able to rest? So it's completely in the realm of possibility that Sakurai would be working on Smash, at least on the side, for more characters for the next couple of years. Smash is a very big IP for Nintendo, so yeah, it's possible they could be planning to work on this for a while. These are just empty spots in the data for the game, so there is no guarantee these will get filled up with DLC fighters, but I will say that Smash is always really ambitious. Smash is always one-upping itself, Smash is always surprising me. If someone had told me right after Smash 4 came out, when we had just found out that we were going to get DLC characters like Mewtwo for Smash 4, if they had told me that we were going to get a Smash ballot, where people were going to be able to write in which characters they wanted and vote to Nintendo directly, and Nintendo was then going to add characters based on who the fans wanted, I would have thought that person was crazy, that's never going to happen, we're lucky we're getting some DLC characters at all. You know, that's what I would have thought about the Smash ballot, but then we got it. Smash is always one-upping itself. It's always doing something really ambitious. It's always doing something that just surprises me. So I could totally see, you know, we get through this first Fighter Pass, or possibly at E3 this year or something, once we have all the characters announced, maybe further than E3, I don't know, whenever that happens, I could see Nintendo announcing, hey, guess what? We're getting a second and third Fighter Pass, or a second Fighter Pass, and when that's done, we're getting a third Fighter Pass. It would be kind of the equivalent to when the ballot was announced. It was something I don't think anybody would have guessed at, something people probably would have thought was, you know, wishful thinking, but hey, the ballot happened. I could see further Fighter Passes happening this time around. It's not that crazy. Now, for me personally, I'm only going to focus on speculating about these 4 unknown DLC fighters that are in the Fighter Pass we know we're getting. Any further Fighter Passes from that, I think they're totally possible. I really do think that this could happen. I think that this Datamine could point to that, but I'm not going to focus on it. I'm not going to speculate on it because I don't want to be disappointed over it. It's something that doesn't have to happen, so I don't want to focus too much on it. I don't want to be thinking, oh man, there's 4 unknown fighters, and then another 5 unknown, and then another 5 unknown. Totally possible that is what could happen, but for now, again, I'm just going to focus on what I know for sure we're going to get, because if that's all we get, that's still a lot of characters. Smash Ultimate has been extremely ambitious already, and to get any DLC fighters is pretty major. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this Datamine is just like a buffer spot, like I was thinking the 30 slots were? Or do you think that this is a more reasonable number, and since it's actually implanted into World of Light, maybe this is actually getting set up for actual fighters that Nintendo was planning to put in the game? Do you think we're going to get a second and third Fighter Pass? Or do you think, again, this is just like a buffer zone in case they decide maybe last minute to add another Fighter Pass? They just want to add extra slots just in case. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on all this, because it's pretty interesting. I mean, getting more Fighter Passes would be absolutely huge. On a final note, people are often asking me about all the cool retro gaming stuff I put in the backgrounds of my videos, and they're all over this room, really. If you're interested in that sort of thing, I would suggest going to myretropop.com. It's a site that sells all sorts of cool, old, retro gaming stuff, so if you're interested in that sort of thing, check them out. So once again, Thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes. Really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.